Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, joined by two co-hosts here, Goody and Hall. We might have a special guest that we rarely ever have come on here anymore. It's been a long time since we've had him. Hopefully, he pokes his head in here, but it's been a long time. Very excited to be able to talk with him again and be able to get his insights into this season. And we're going to talk about and discuss the Vikings battle, which is the title of tonight's episode, the Viking battle, going on Sunday. Two teams that are looking to kind of claw their way back into having good competitive football week in and week out. Very excited to break that down for you. We're also going to talk about our Christmas list of just things that we want to see from Washington from here on moving forward. And then we'll answer fan questions, of course, to wrap this all up. But Goody, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I can't complain, man. I'm another Friday night sitting here in my cold garage talking with you fine folk. I can't complain, man. It's another good day.
It's a cold one today. Today's a cold one.
It definitely was. We were working up in Jersey, and we had to unload a bunch of material out of there and carry it inside, and like it was crazy because we were saying like you were gonna get pneumonia with that type of stuff, being cold outside, going inside sweating because it was so hot in there, and then going right back outside. It was awful. What about you, Hall? How you doing, man?
Yeah, it's cold as hell, just like y'all. But it's Friday, so can't complain. The weekend's here.
You guys got heaters in the warehouse. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Boy, I don't know what you be talking about. You see the way I be bundled up when I go to work every day.
You're closed in. You're bundled up. You're good to go, bro. All right, now I want to talk about the first order of business, and that being that Jayden Daniels is coming back. And not only is Jayden Daniels coming back, but it's the fact that Washington is able on offense, finally able to see what it's like with Debo and Terry and Jayden all on the field for the first time since week 2. So heading into this game, Goody, given with how much time Jayden Daniels has had off, what is your expectation for this game? Minnesota coming into this, I mean, they have one of the best defenses in the league. It's well known how good they are at pass rushing. We talked about it, I think like a month ago, Hall, that like we were talking about Joe Witt's defense, and Brian Flores blitzes a lot more than your typical defensive coordinator. So what would be your expectations heading into this game for offense?
Yeah, my expectations would be training wheels, right? You would kind of like rookie season, first coming out, first getting your snaps, making it easy options for him to hit targets to get in a rhythm early, not have him thinking too much, going through the motions in terms of just dropping back, finding a target and letting it rip consecutively. So a nice, easy game plan to get the ball out of his hands quickly early until obviously the natural, cold-blooded killer in him kind of takes over and kind of, manages the game from there on out. But I do expect it to be quick passing game early, a lot of the run game mixed into it as well. But I do expect Jayden to, I wouldn't be surprised if he does come out with a little rust. We've seen that happen his rookie season, his first start. We've seen it happen this year, a little bit of a slow start. So not too surprised if it does go that way, but I think he will kind of, get back into that groove.
There's a ghost in our presence.
What the fuck are you trying to say right now? Are you dude, I didn't realize how much I blend in with the wall behind me. Holy shit.
I was going to say that.
I look like I don't have arms. What the hell?
The lack of contrast between the background and your skin. I mean, you can't even see your shoulders.
Kyle, no. Kyle, you can log off. I got it from here.
No, but that being said, our special guest tonight, Mr. Michael Reed. What's up, man? I asked Goody how he's doing. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Kyle. Just living the dream. Finally got off early enough to be able to get here and come see you hooligans. And, it's like good time, old time's sake.
Yeah, old time's sake. It was definitely needed. But I just asked Goody about what like his kind of expectations are with Jayden actually being on the field with Debo and Terry for the first time since week 2. This season has sucked, man. You and I both know, we all four know that. But what would be your expectations for the offense going against one of the best defenses in the league currently?
The offense I'm never really too worried about. I mean, during the season, I mean, I haven't been on here much to talk to you, but like you see, like with Jaden on there, like he had his moments, like against the Chargers specifically. That was like the game where like I thought that we turned it around. I was like, okay, there we are, we're back. But like you still feel good with Cliff calling the plays. You still feel good with Cliff just we can finally hopefully see what this offense should have been almost the entire season. And I just think at this point you're really just going for broke. You got nothing to lose. Cliff can get a head coaching job somewhere more than likely, or he can stay here and just keep honing his craft. Possibly next season, Super Bowl aspirations. That's all I'm saying. But like he's just you. What do you have to lose? You got to go out there. You got to turn it up. You got to get Jaden as much experience as possible. You got to get him bouncing back. You want to get him on the same page with Terry and Debo. So I expect to see it. I expect it to be pretty electric. I mean, they made it a point to get Terry the ball last week because he was back and they know what they have in Terry McLaurin, and we saw what that did for the offense. So I just think that they're gonna just open it up and they're just gonna say, boys, just go out there and have fun, and we got that. At least that's what I'm expecting. That's what I hope. And then on the flip side of the ball, you got hopefully we're going up against JJ McCarthy and our defense can look like an NFL defense. I think that would be fun.
Don't jinx it, man. And
I did. I know. Now.
and with
Watch.
that cutoff shirt, you look like you would fit right in Minnesota.
I
with the
did.
rest
No,
of
I
those
don't.
folks.
Yeah, right. What are you talking about? Maybe SEC country, not Minnesota. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
Nah, but what do you think, All?
Yeah, you guys hit a lot of the points I was gonna make. I would just say if you see the game plan that Cliff's been rolling out with Marcus Mariota, then you would see that
That was so annoying, by the way. My bad.
it was
Hall.
really annoying.
The whole time, I thought my couch was gonna levitate it.
He was like Mariota. I was like, why is he saying it so like Italian? Like he's making this Hawaiian American guy sound Italian.
Mariota,
really
not Mariota.
But yeah, you saw that Cliff made an emphasis to not only get the running game going early and often, but kind of insulate Marcus Mariota in the offensive line, but against a good pass rush, which obviously they're going up against this week as well because they blitz so much.
Yeah.
But also, you saw that he was getting the ball out quick, which kind of made the defense back off a little bit. And then you saw what Marcus Mariota has been doing all season, and since he's gotten to last season as well, which is he loves to push the ball down the field. I think he's like one of the highest rates of like pushing the ball down the field in the NFL, and just a handful of starts that he's been in there. So I would expect Cliff hopefully to not get too giddy with Jaden being back and trying to just throw everything on him back at once when he's trying to work himself back, get back into a rhythm. Like Reed said, the Chargers game I feel like is a perfect example where you saw he came out in the first quarter or so. He was kind of rusty. He wasn't really looking like Jaden. And then from that point on, it was kind of like he hit the ground running. He's throwing the deep ball to Luke McCaffrey. He's getting on the edges, running in the running game. He's making the throws that we saw back in 2024 as a rookie. So, yeah, just in short, I would expect hopefully that Cliff treats this just like a regular game plan like he has the past couple weeks, and get the running game going, get the ball out quick, and let Jaden kind of get back into a rhythm. And then, like Reed said, once he gets into a rhythm, or Goody said, one of them said it, just let him play loose and free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real fast, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. Like Minnesota's blitzing. Like Jaden this season hasn't been that good against the blitz. So he's in like the bottom 3 or 4 out of the qualified quarterbacks, I think, against the blitz, something like that. I just pulled that stat out. I'm not sure exactly where it's, but it's towards the bottom of the league. But then like last season, he was so good against the blitz. You couldn't blitz Jaden Daniels last year. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get kind of back on that. If the injuries maybe played a role in that, or just not having faith or comfortability with the wide receivers. I think that's probably the main thing. So it'll be interesting to see having Terry back there, and then all offseason with Debo, if he's going to be a little bit less gun shy and less quick to pull it down.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of it has to do with the offensive line, especially early on in the season, where obviously Connerly wasn't playing up to the level that he is now. Obviously that Sam Cosmi wasn't back yet. Chris Paul, I don't think Chris Paul didn't get slid into that was against the Raiders. I think is when he got moved into guard. So it was like the offensive line were still working themselves out a little bit, of course, and obviously the injuries play a part, Reed, to your point. But I think that you would expect to see what you kind of saw against Denver, which is a very capable defense. I mean, between these two, you could venture to say that Denver is probably a little bit better than Minnesota. It's crazy because Minnesota, like, who can you point to on Minnesota that's a star, right? Like, it's very rare that a defensive coordinator gets a lot of the spotlight for the production of a defense. You know, like, it's a very rare situation, but it's almost like Redskins-esque from back in the Super Bowl years, where it's just a collective doing well. But I think that you get back to what you were doing before. That's why I like Mariota as the backup, because you can run the same exact offense. He does a lot of what Jaden could do. It just doesn't have that much of a spark that Jaden has, or maybe possibly as great of ice in his veins as Jaden, of course. But I think you go back to what you've been doing and just be able to, and let's see a little bit more of those fourth down conversions. That's the real key.
That's the main thing. I think that's why Mariota is so important to this team, because he is very similar to Jaden. Just, I mean, in terms of his playing style, like, obviously he's older. He was never quite as fast as Jaden. He was still a mobile quarterback, but like, just I think that's the beauty of having Mariota. Like, you don't have to change the offense really. You can kind of keep it the exact same and run the same plays you would with Jaden, obviously. But so I like that. But back inside, Kyle, I'm just excited to see old JD out there. You know what I mean? I'm just getting.
I think we all are. We all
are.
Well, I think he is too.
Sunday feels better.
Yeah, Sunday feels so much better. You don't have to be like, oh man, I gotta tune in at 1 p.m. for Marcus Mariota. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, cool. We get to go watch Jaden Daniels ball out there. No,
so rude, but I understand.
But does he get you excited? No.
Did you listen to the mic'd up that they released of Marcus Mariota against Denver?
No, but I know he's like the coolest, nicest guy of all time.
Dude, he says yes sir like literally 30 times throughout the entire thing. Constantly, yes sir, yes sir. All right, Marcus.
Like a Valley girl?
I guess so.
Yes sir. Yeah.
I guess so. It would make sense. But I wanted to get your guys' Christmas list for possibly this season, or if you want to ask Santa for something in the off season. And I'll start this with you, Goody. If you were to write to Santa, what would you be asking for the team?
Yeah, I'll keep it real short, for Santa, so that it has a better chance of actually, arriving. But let's get out of this season healthy. Let's get out of the season healthy. We're getting guys back, sprinkling in there for the rest of the season. I think there's like 5 games left. So, for the last 2-3 games, especially them being division games, I want to see us kind of be at, as much full of a team as we kind of anticipated coming into as a season. And the fact that we get to go up against the Eagles twice, the Cowboys, Giants again, like, that's exciting to me. So I want to go out and just punch them in the face, come out the season healthy, and that would be on my list.
That's probably the best thing. That I think everyone in the organization is probably praying for that too, Goody. So I don't think you're alone in that. But it's crazy because 2 of my coworkers, one of my bosses, they are Eagles fans, and they were talking about the Eagles the other day at work, and I'm sitting there listening to them complain the whole time. They're like, the team just sucks. The O-line sucks and everything. I'm just thinking in my head, like, dude, you spoiled brats.
So funny, though.
Like, you spoiled brats. You have no idea. You have no idea what it's like. You just won the Super Bowl, and you're sitting here complaining about the team sucking. Like, come on, dude. Yeah. Oh, it's horrible. What about you, Hall? What would you be wishing for?
I would be wishing for Jaden to come back and look like the Jaden of, I say old, but of last year, or even the Chargers game, and just look like the Jaden that we all know the potential that he can play at, the high level that he can play at. And I just want him to come out, show the rest of the NFL, show the rest of these stupid fan bases that keep thinking that he's not the one, that he really is the one, a.k.a. these stupid Bears fans, a.k.a. these stupid Cowboys fans, a.k.a. these stupid Eagles fans, a.k.a. 80% of stupid Twitter.
Yeah. Why do you have to be so mean? I know that Reed is going to be right on his list that the judge withholds.
I forgot these stupid Patriots fans.
The judge withholds the order for allowing him to stay out of jail ever since January 6th. I'm glad to see you got out, man.
What the hell?
I'm very happy to see you back. I know that you're not guilty like they all say you are.
He stole it from his brother.
You know what's crazy? The other day, I heard somebody was like, Santa's coming down the chimney tonight. I said, how did you guys know Kyle calls his throat the chimney? Folks, no, but if we had to, but I know a lot of people want a high draft pick because we do need blue chip players. We do need we just especially on defense. Like, we need like talent. Like I'd love to get a Ruben Bain and good edge rusher, Arvell Reese, obviously, like just somebody like a stalwart defender that we can kind of just grow with Jaden over the years. But I want to upset some of these teams. I want to use what we did against the Broncos, where like even though we lost, that was a hell of a game. Like you can't be more proud of a team after a loss than you were against the Broncos because like it actually felt like last season a little bit. Like we had the dog in us, we were fighting, the defense played very well. I just want us to continue to build off that and keep going and let's spoil some of these teams' playoff chances. Let's spoil the Cowboys' playoff chances down the road. Let's make sure that the Eagles, that they'll screw something up, let's just I just want to be us against it. That way next season we can come back and be like, this past season was just kind of a fluke with all the injuries and it was just a freak season. We were still in the NFC Championship game last season. So, I just want to come back out here, just get confidence. I think that's huge for the locker room too. I'm surprised that the locker room is in as good spirits as they seem to be. I mean, I know that what's his face, Darnell Savage got released. He asked for his release, and that's something that we haven't really seen with the
come
Dan
on,
Quinn
dude.
coaching staff. Yeah, but like after listening to like Von Miller talk, like those clips that came out today, I don't think that there's any issue in this locker room at all. I think that everybody still loves Dan Quinn. They understand that this has kind of been a fluky season, so I just want them to continue to build off that.
Yeah, well, you could see the Darnell Savage thing from a mile away. That is like the whole after a couple breaks up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it was mutual." Like that's not what she said, dude.
Right.
Literally, B Mitch was saying like literally he was like, the people that usually ask to be released, the people that know they're about to be released.
Right.
So
Yeah, get out ahead of it.
Yeah, another thing too, he wasn't really there from the beginning, so he may
Right.
not have bought into what they really got
Right,
going
right.
on
He was
over
brought
there
in
too.
mid-season, kind of late,
Yeah.
and then was kind of he started to get a little bit butthurt because the guy who we signed in the offseason, Will Harris, he
Making his
was
way back.
dispatched because of him, and it's like, dude, just come on. But
Yeah.
no,
The Bills picked him up though. He went
They
to the
did. They
Bills.
picked him up
did
today.
they already pick him up?
On my
About
Xmas
that.
list,
No.
my Christmas list for this season, it would be for Reed to get a tan, and two, it would be
What the
for
hell?
honestly, it would be for the
A
vibes
mustache?
for the vibes to come back. I do think that an edge rusher is needed. I mean, as much I do like have a lot of confidence in Dietrich Wise and Dorrance Armstrong. I'm not throwing them by the wayside. Maybe we have something in Drake Jackson, who just got activated this week, still
Getting
not
somebody
practicing
opposite
fully.
Dorrance Armstrong though next season.
Yeah. But
That
like
would be
my whole thing is I still want to see something being built there, something sustainable for the long term. And, I started watching a little bit of Arvell Reese, and I know it's going to be difficult to see him falling to Washington if he does, but we also said the same
So
thing
good.
about we said the same thing
Dude,
about
we said the
Christian,
same thing about Arakpo, Jonathan Allen,
Christian
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
All
Like
those
we
guys.
said there's
Yeah.
no way Christian Gonzalez is going to fall to us. Obviously he was there. We didn't want to take him. But
Yeah.
just saying that you never know with these sort of things. And Arvell Reese kind of fits that bill of what Dan Quinn and company kind of did with Micah Parsons. And if you're talking about a shoe-in fit, that's exactly what you want to add to this football team. Someone that you can rotate, move around at linebacker, on the edge, down low. Like that's a great piece to be able to have. And of course, you can't put your eggs all into one basket. But that's something that an edge rusher I think is vitally needed. And you need some energy and honestly, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Bobby. We have a fan question regarding this later on, but you have to look at the identity of the defense and say, where is it? And you kind of have to plant your flag into something of the sort. Which brings into my next question, boys, and I'll start this with you, Hall. If Washington were to win on Sunday, what would be your reaction?
Not surprised. If you just go back to 2 games ago, even though it was like a pretty bad game overall and over in Spain, but I mean they should have won that game. To be honest with you, Dolphins were trying to give it to us. We were playing hot potato, trying to give it right back to them. So that should have been a win. And then you go and you look at this Denver game. They've been trending in an upward direction, just like play style, identity style, just overall, just with your eye, the eye test. They've been passing the eye test for the past couple of weeks now on defense, especially on offense as well. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all. And then if you look at, obviously, the Vikings have Jordan Jefferson, they have Jordan Addison,
Jordan Jefferson,
Justin Jefferson, Jordan
Dude.
Addison, and a capable tight end. And so they can definitely move the ball down the field. Aaron Jones, if he's playing, Jordan Mason's not bad at running the ball as
not
well
at all.
as a bruiser. So they have the weapons on offense. Kevin O'Connell, one of my favorite coaches in the league, great offensive mind. He can definitely can get the ball moving down the field. It's just what quarterback are you going to get? Are you going to get J.J. McCarthy, where the fourth quarter against the Bears, where he's throwing 2 touchdowns, running all over the place, kind of looking like the guy that they thought they drafted? Or are you going to get J.J. McCarthy of the past couple of weeks where everyone's like, yeah, they're probably going to draft another quarterback or get another quarterback next year in 2026. So I think it depends a lot on that. Not really a lot on that, but I just think that it wouldn't surprise me if they came out and won, and it wouldn't surprise me if they came out and won in a decisive fashion against the Vikings.
Yeah, I think that it would be fun and great. It's great to hear, and I just think the Vikings are legitimately good. They just haven't found their identity yet, and obviously the changing of quarterbacks makes it difficult for them to kind of find their identity offensively. I do think they're going to start force feeding Justin Jefferson, and that's going to start this weekend. Without Trey Amos, without Marshawn Lattimore, we kind of lack the length on the outside to be able to contend with JJ and what he does so well. So I do expect them to be able to target him heavily when they need to. I think with McCarthy, if he starts using his legs more, that could kind of help with that kind of identity, that kind of just getting into a rhythm offensively. So for me personally, like, I think that I would obviously love for them to come in and win this football game. As much as everyone wants a draft position, I totally get it. I do. But I don't want to see them lose. You know what I mean? And as much as I would love the higher draft pick, the better chance to get Arvil Reese, I would be ecstatic to be able to hear for them to win this football game.
You know how defeated people are going to be that if Jaden comes back, everyone's excited, and J.J. McCarthy comes out and now plays him? You know how defeated this fan base is going to be after that?
Yeah.
Here, Arch asked a question in the chat, and also Large Viking said, Skull, is it still okay to say that? He said, damn injuries. And then he also said, we'll definitely be back next season. Same goes with Washington. Respect to you, brother, not coming in here guns blazing, talking crap like the others do. Deluxe asked this question, and I'll go to you, Reed. Who has more yards this week? Deluxe asked this. Terry or Jefferson?
Well, it's tough for the Vikings. The hard thing for the Vikings, like we talked about how talented they are, but the one problem is that the forward pass was introduced to football in 1906. So, like, with their quarterback. But I'm going to go with, unfortunately, I think Terry's going to have a great game. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson just because I do think that they're going to he's pissed off. They're going to try to get him the ball as much as possible.
Yeah, I agree with you there. What do you say, Hall?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the key to unlocking this offense and them moving the ball down the field, obviously, is the run game. Everyone knows it starts with the running game, but It's also getting the best player on their offense the ball more times than not. And obviously, we know Justin Jefferson, if he's not number 2, he's number 1 in the league as far as wide receivers go overall. And he's a guy that can take it from their 20-yard line down to your end zone, 80 yards down the field on a slant or something like that. So he's an explosive player, and yeah, you got to get your explosive players the ball. So I definitely, like you said, I expect him to force feed Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for like over 100 on us. But again, if they bend but don't break on defense, all those yards are not going to matter. But I can definitely see him going pretty ham on us on Sunday.
Yeah, you could make the argument with Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase that 1A, 1B, really between those two, you can really just have your identity attached to those two. But I'm going to go with my boy. I'm going to go with good old 17. I think that the quarterback situation is just that much better. And if Jaden, I think he feels really good. I think the offense feels really good with where they're at, just overall collectively, especially with the stemming from the offensive line. I know everyone is complaining that they're worried about Jaden being out there against one of the best pass rushing units in the NFL with lots of blitzes that the Vikings like to do. But I would be willing to point to what they did against Denver and that very capable pass rushing unit. And this offensive line held up very well. They had a very, very good plan going into that game, and hopefully that transcends into this one, and they're able to continue that playing style offensively. If they're able to keep Jaden upright, he doesn't have to bail out with his legs constantly. I find that Terry could put up some very good numbers in this football game with a game under his belt. Last week he looked phenomenal, and I think he's going to look phenomenal in this game. So I'm going with my boy 17. What about you, Goody?
Yeah, I'm riding that hand. I'm gonna go with Terry McLaurin. He's gonna build off of last week. He was obviously on a snap count. You saw he's kept himself in the game longer than the plan was initially because he was ready and he just has that dog mentality. But you can see that he's healthy, and he's going to build off of last week with a huge performance this week. And the only reason why I'm confident in my kind of guess on that is I think Justin Jefferson is going to be force fed. We all know that, but I feel like it will be for short yardage receptions and gains. I think we're going to tie him up, but then we're going to lock him up, and it's going to be surprising with this secondary how they pulled that off. Maybe Mikey Sarin still has his, like, don't forget about me, guys, kind of game. And that's how Terry takes more yards than Justin Jefferson.
Totally agree with you, and I'm glad that James didn't get Reed's complexion. So
What are you talking about? Yeah, he did.
no, he's a little tanner than you are. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous.
No, dude,
Which
we're
goes into
literally,
this question I'm going to ask you, Goody.
White.
I'm going to ask you guys, how should Washington defend Justin Jefferson in this offense? Given that I kind of laid out that we don't have Amos or Marshawn's kind of height or length to be able to contend against JJ. So how would you, Goody, defend Justin Jefferson with his current defense?
Yeah, so it's obviously going to be a tall task, right? Because they do have another good wide receiver, Jordan Addison. He's like really good as well. So in order to kind of focus all of your attention on Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison can absolutely destroy you. But in terms of how to contain Justin Jefferson, I think the focus for me, if I was kind of drawing it up, I would have, probably your best corner on him, have a safety over the top at all times. Now, that is something that people do, week to week to week, right? But something like that I know with our weakness is those crossing routes over the middle, getting those mismatches and then gashing us for 40, 60, 80-yard touchdowns, right? So with that, having like your best corner on him, having safety over the top, and not even hiding it, let him know, like just show it, like, yeah, we're really trying to take you out of this, and then just kind of keep in your back pocket that crossing route. So try to have somebody over the middle that sees Justin Jefferson crossing his face or sees him approaching him and just run to that side of the field and try to just bottle it up as best you could. So that would be my thing.
I agree with you. Quan is a good free safety, very good at being able to control the middle of the field. We kind of saw that last week. And I want to continue that trend. I would put Mikey with Justin any chance that I possibly could. I think Mikey is a little scrappy do. He goes and he fights, and going against guys like Jamison Williams against Detroit last season, who was bigger, longer than him, but he was able to defend him very well. I could see Mikey have a very good game in this. But honestly, the one that really scares me the most is TJ Hawkinson over the middle of the field. And you kind of saw that Evan Ingram play in overtime on Bobby, them trying to replicate that. Kevin O'Connell was going over that film like crazy, seeing those weaknesses. And like you said, Goody, they want to attack that middle with the crossers and what's beaten Washington before. But I do think that Washington has turned a corner, and they're actually playing professional football. As much as we want to talk about their competitors and who they've gone against as not being like the guys they did before, like that's granted, but we saw Las Vegas doing this to us early in that football game. So it's not like this has only been against really good competition. This has shown its face a couple times here. What do you think, Reed?
I think I'm gonna have to bounce. I'm gonna have to try again Sunday or Monday. He is
I got you.
Not listening at all, having one of his moments.
It's okay.
Thank
you for brightening up the room, man.
I tried. I'll be back. All right, guys.
All right, dude. Have a good one. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, I think they're just gonna have to pretty much. You go back again. Past couple of weeks since Dan Quinn has taken over the defense, they've played a lot more zone defense compared to what Joe Witt was doing, which was a lot of man defense. A lot of people going into that Dolphins game thought that Jalen Waddle was going to be a guy that was going to kill us because of his speed, because of his route running, and because of obviously the secondary hasn't been performing up to par. They pretty much bottled him up. And you go look at Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin, same thing. They didn't really let them beat them deep, kept everything in front of them, played zones. So I think with Justin Jefferson, obviously he's in a whole nother level than these guys. But
right.
Yeah, you're going to have to just keep playing zone, keep everything in front of you. Maybe play some cover 6 and kind of play some matchup zone, maybe stuff like that. But I think the main thing is Deron Payne and Javon Kinlaw are going to have to get some push up the middle and really just get J.J. McCarthy off his spot, get him uncomfortable early, and make it so that if he is trying to force feed Justin Jefferson and they're trying to give him the ball a lot, make it so that it's uncomfortable for him, and maybe you get a couple deflections, a couple tip passes,
Yeah.
and ends up in turnovers. So just keep doing what they've been doing for the past couple of weeks, which is just keep the number one receivers for the team in front of him and don't let them beat you deep.
Yeah, and you could go down the argument, the rabbit hole of saying that the best way to contain Justin Jefferson is what Arch kind of said in the comments, is getting after JJ, and that goes into being able to stop the run. If you're able to stop the runs to the outside, force them to be one-dimensional, then you can start pinning your ears back and bringing some pressure on JJ, and that helps a lot. It's just that obviously every defense wants to be able to stop the run, to be able to pressure the quarterback. But it's easier said than done, of course, and especially with a guy like Christian Darrisaw at left tackle. It's not an easy task, but it's not like it's an unbeatable one, of course, you could say. To your point, Deluxe, though, but pressuring the quarterback is getting after the source, being the quarterback, and obviously them not being on the same page right now overall. JJ coming off of his concussion, you could say, well, maybe there's some good stuff that you could actually get to him and be able to stifle Justin Jefferson a little bit. It's just too bad that Justin Jefferson can't throw the ball to himself, because then we really be in trouble. You know what I mean? Now, we have some fan questions that were submitted. This first one is by the Colonel. The question is, Goody, will we bring back our old war horses next season? Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner, Austin Eckler, etc. After all, they're still performing, and we don't have very many draft picks. What are your thoughts?
That's a tough one. From what I've seen from Austin Eckler, he's definitely a football player through and through, right? Even with his kind of scary kind of injury history as of late. So I could see if the team is interested in bringing him back, and I would be willing to have him back, considering he doesn't have any wear and tear for this season, technically. But again, they may look at it as, hey, Jeremy McNichols has kind of bailed us out in this situation. We may be able to just stick here. But again, I don't know what that looks like with Austin Eckler and his health. But bringing back Bobby Wagner, that's another one, too, because even this offseason, it was kind of up in the air. We weren't really too sure. It wasn't very long before he decided, that he's going to come back. But still, we had no clue. We expected that to be a one-year thing initially. Maybe depending on the way that this season ends, they kind of have a sour taste in their mouth where they kind of want to get it back and try to finish it. So with that being said, I'll say, yeah, Zach will be back as well. Just because of that sour taste that this season has left in their mouths, they want to come back out and try to really, show what they got.
I'm not 100% sure. With Austin Eckler, I think Austin Eckler is a fantastic person, a fantastic football player. But the issue that arises is that Jeremy McNichols' contract is up. Chris Rodriguez's contract is up. They just drafted Bill, of course. And so I'd venture to say that maybe we should be allocating those resources to those guys that are performing really well this season and have shown to be very important. And that's no slight to Austin Eckler. He's a fantastic football player. But, when you really look at it, to say we should probably be getting younger at the position, let's retain those two workhorses that we know are very pivotal and important to this football team and perform well. Let's bring those guys back, and let's add somebody in the later rounds again, or possibly undrafted free agent, and to be able to help this football team grow just a little bit more. Bobby Wagner, I would imagine he just became a co-owner of a Seattle soccer team, women's soccer team or basketball team. And so he's already on with one foot out the door, so to speak. And this is a big test this weekend because Bobby has not practiced this week due to a knee injury. And it was said that if he doesn't play, then Jordan McGee is starting in his place and he's calling the defense, which is what I've been saying from the get-go about Jordan McGee, that he was the replacement for Bobby and not Frankie Louvu. And so I'm very excited to see if Bobby doesn't go, how Jordan McGee steps up into that situation. Because if Jordan McGee does very well, then it would make it easier for the front office to kind of make a decision with Bobby. And I'm sure Bobby is going to make a business decision himself. And there's a quite possibility he might not want to return, of course. But maybe if he retired tomorrow, I think he'd be on the coaching staff 3 days from now. You know what I mean? And I would love to be able to bring Bobby in as a coach, because I think he's just that damn good at being able to call things. And so maybe that's in the cards. We don't know. And to be able to help Jordan McGee and these younger guys, you'd want nobody else than Bobby Wagner helping you coach up. And I think Dan Quinn would 100% sign off on something like that. And then
I think what you said about Jordan McGee kind of, if he has that one kind of good performance, but I think it's a little hard to just kind of bake it all into one good outing. Because he does have his own kind of injury history as well, compared to Bobby Wagner, who has started like I don't even know how many consecutive games. Like it's like some sort of record or something like that. He hasn't missed a game in like I don't know 10, however long, right? But you can't really quantify that in terms of the rookie or the younger player coming out having a good game. There's a lot that goes into that position, so it's tough.
100%.
It's tough.
100%. But you don't buy a car until you test drive it, right? And you never know until you're actually in the driver wheel to see how it handles and how it does that you make a decision. Like that's just like you got to know. Do you feel comfortable or not? Like the reason why I think they brought back Bobby this year and why Bobby continued playing is because they really didn't have somebody they had felt confident in to start this season. And so this is just kind of an impromptu trial by fire for Jordan McGee to see how he would handle it. Because we've been saying, like the Colonel asked this question a couple weeks ago, asking like what would be your game plan to see younger guys and the older guys to move in and out, and this is a kind of a way that you can be able to see how the younger guys would do for you in case the older guys weren't there. Look, I respect Bobby. If Bobby wants to play again, come back, but there are limitations attached, and you can't look away from it. And if you truly are trying to keep up with the NFL, that's one area that you could say is you need speed. And that's the unfortunate part. As much as Bobby makes up for everything else, just saying that's obviously one thing every single person with eyeballs would say about the defense is you need speed in the middle of the field there. That's what's really killing us a little bit. What would you say, Hall?
Yeah, I think if any of the older veteran guys, like between Eckler, Ertz, and Wagner come back, I think it's probably going to be Ertz just because our tight end situation is kind of still in flux right now. If you look at the running back position, like you said, yeah, they only have Bill under contract, but they could also dip into the draft for one. They could dip into free agency for a guy, or they can bring the guys that they have on the roster right now back on shorter deals or whatever it may be. And they already obviously know the system, know the facility, know the arena, or know the area, whatever. And then, like you said, although I do agree with Goody where McGee has maybe kind of a slight injury history, and like you said, that they brought back Bobby this year because they didn't know if they had anyone in that position. Well, it's because McGee was injured all of last year, basically. So then he was kind of nicked up this year. I think he missed a couple practices, may have missed a game or two. I don't know, but
He was healthy.
so yeah, I think that McGee definitely has the potential, and I think that he's definitely taken strides and has been learning from Bobby and is in position to take that spot over next year. I do think that the coaching staff does have a lot of trust in him. You're seeing that he's starting to earn a little bit more snaps week in and week out, and he has the speed to cover the middle of the field, which is in today's NFL, a lot of these offenses love to attack the middle of the field. So that's definitely a guy that is definitely going to be a key for our defense going forward. But I just think that I'm in on a guy like Isaiah Likely, who I've been on him for a while now.
Bring him up, man.
But at the same time, a lot of people in the NFL are probably going to be interested in Isaiah Likely because he's a really good tight end. So I just think that if they can't get a guy like Isaiah Likely, or I know there's like 8 or 9 or 10 guys about to hit the market this year, so it's a good year to be a free agent tight end and need one. So yeah, if they can't get a guy in free agency, I could definitely see them bringing back Ertz just for one more last hoorah, one more last ride. And then obviously you still got Sennett under contract. You still got Bates under contract. And I don't know. I think Yankoff might be a free agent, but obviously he's a practice squad guy that they like and keep around. So, yeah, I think that if anyone does come back, it'll be Ertz. I think Eckler, due to the injury, I think they're going to move on, and his contract is up, I believe. And, yeah. We got McGee.
With Ertz, like the tight end room being shaky, one argument I would say is like we haven't seen enough of the tight end room to really say this is concrete that it like if
I get that, but I feel like
if Zach wasn't
just
there,
just like with McGee, like they're starting. Okay, we're giving him a little bit more trust, You haven't really seen that from Sennett at any point. Even going back to last year,
that's fair.
They were hyping up McGee as like, hey, we got packages for him.
Right.
We're really excited about him. You've never really heard anything like that about Benson, other than he's progressing. Oh yeah, he's getting better, but like it's not translating to the field on Sundays. So that's why I'm like, it's still up in the air.
I got
If he
you.
comes in next year and takes that Luke McCaffrey type step and like shows that like, okay, I can be that guy, then okay, cool, battle it out. But I just think that you can't go into the next season based off of we hope he takes that next step type of thing.
I got you. Yeah, I'm more so talking about the whole tight end room altogether, in the sense of it being shaky. Like what I'm saying is, if Ertz wasn't there, we probably would see a little bit more of Yankoff, a little bit more of Sinnott, to be able to justifiably say, because we know what Bates is. Bates is a good tight end, and so like we kind of would look at it and say, all right, he's lacking here, but like we haven't seen enough to be able to say, are they capable or are they incapable? And obviously they see them at practice every day, so you have to give them the warrant of that, the benefit of the doubt, right? But just saying that, like, in totality, we haven't really seen them be able to like show themselves enough to say the tight end room is really bad. Like, not bad, but shaky, like you said. You know what I'm?
Yeah, no,
you
when
know
I
what
mean
I'm getting at?
shaky, I mean when I say shaky, I mean like you just look at the better offenses in the league, the Packers, the Bills, the Ravens. Like we're talking about Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. Teams like that, they have a tight end that can work the middle of the field. Even Zach Ertz, even though he's had a kind of an off year this year as far as the penalties and the drops.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz is a guy like that. We need that kind of athletic motion flex, kind of that wide tight end to move around the offense, create space in the middle of the field, safety blanket type of guy. And again, I like Bates, and I think that he has more pass catching potential, but they're not really using him in that role, maybe because Ertz is there. And then Sinnott, again, he's the big question mark. But if I had to take a guess, they're leaning more towards of he's just a pretty good blocker, and we'll get him involved if we need to, but we're not really going to emphasize getting him the catches and the reps. I feel like that's where they're at with him.
I got you. Now, the next question we have is submitted by Tim Towner Goody. It's a kind of long one, so bear with me. He said, please discuss how you would handle the cap from an offensive/defensive standpoint. Philadelphia and Dallas are spending on O and renting on D. Personally, I can see paying a quarterback and needing to pay 2 wide receivers. But I think the player is more important. And just because wide receivers are getting $35 million per doesn't mean that is what we should do. Ayuk as an example. I would rather trade you players like a George Pickens than pay for a head case. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of experienced this as a franchise for years where,
Yeah.
just spending money doesn't necessarily equate to, if anything, it equates to more of a mess, right? You go out and spend the big ticket and they're just sitting there kind of just wasting your money. So I'm kind of scarred from that, So in order to go out and try to spend big bucks on a big name, and then the expectations are through the roof, and then it doesn't work out, for God forbid the first 2 weeks, and then everything's burning down. I think it's better to just kind of go into look for what you want, identify what you want, right? As an organization, as an offense, whatever it is, identify what you want. See what is available that fits that, and then just make your carnival pick out of that to see, if that does kind of work out. I'm not really out here. I don't think that we're in a position as a franchise, the team, to go out and spend big money on a wide receiver just because A, you have it, and B, because you think it could be a need. I think it's better to just kind of stick to your strategy, and you don't want to go out and spend big money right now on a wide receiver.
Yeah, and look, give credit to Dallas. Jerry knows how to sell tickets. He knows how to get the spotlight on his franchise. Now, does Jerry ultimately know, as of late, does Jerry know how to win championships? And as much as you are renting on D, the defense is what wins you championships in those playoff games, going against other defenses, other offenses that are capable and high powered. Will your defense be able to do enough to be able to get you off the field and to be able to give your offense a chance? And that's the big question for Dallas heading into this. And obviously, I'm more keen on trying to build a championship roster. Instead of trying to maximize the points by Jaden Daniels, I am much more interested in allocating resources in order to keep the point margin low for Jaden Daniels so he doesn't have to be Superman. So we don't have to play this constant shootout type of game where you don't know what you're going to get, because you can't guarantee that an offense is going to be high-powered in every single game. But you can really help yourself out by lowering that point allowed. And that's what I'm really keen on trying to do. So if anything, I'm allocating either draft resources or free agent resources in order to shore up that defense, in order to make things easier on the young quarterback so they don't have to be Superman. That weight, that number 2 overall pick being the face of the franchise, is a weighty expectation. And to make their job a little bit easier will go a long way.
So I don't really mind, like, if they're going to spend big money and bring in this player and that player. I don't really mind how they're spending the money, whether it's offense or defensive side of the ball, because I just want them to, like Goody kind of reference, identify the players that you know that are going to fit your culture, fit your building, fit your system, and then if they're commanding big money because they're that type of player, then pay that type of money. But I just feel like, and again, Goody kind of represent, people are kind of scarred from the past of, well, we spent money on this big player and that big player and it never worked out. Well, first of all, the people running this things were idiots back then, but also they had a thing of
fair.
Yeah, they had a every single time they spent on a big player, they brought them in and didn't cater to what they do best. They said, "This is how we do it in our system. You're going to fit our system." And we've seen what Dan Quinn and this coaching staff does is, what's your superpower? Let me identify it, and we're going to do whatever we can to bring the best out of you with whatever the superpower is. So I just feel like
I
if you're
didn't
spending it
expect
on
you to come out with a defense of Albert Hainsworth. I will say
But yeah. So if you're like gonna spend it on, say you want to spend it on a wide receiver, like I'm not even talking about Ayuk, or because he's not even gonna demand a big contract. And if he's thinking that, then
yeah.
he's an idiot. So, and then a guy like George Pickens, just talking about head cases, he's the ultimate head case. But his production on the field, how
The
does
guy
it lay out?
wearing
How
a
does it-
shiesty is a head case?
I know, right? So I just feel like, and I'm more of like a draft a guy and then develop them and then keep them around. But the problem is we have such limited draft picks that,
Yes.
like, obviously they need another wide receiver. And like I said, I'm more of like draft a wide receiver and develop him, keep him around, give him a second contract, a la Terry, and build through that way. But at the same time, if you, like I said, if you identify a receiver that will match well with Terry, match well with Jaden, can expand the offense, then cool. If he demands $30 million a year, pay him the $30 million a year. Just make sure that he's going to fit your system and you're going to get the most out of him for that $30 million. So, and if you look at the teams like the Chiefs, when they paid Pat Mahomes, they were drafting on the
Yes.
defensive side of the ball young players
Thank you.
and giving them playing time from the get-go.
Thank you.
So that when it came time to pay Pat Mahomes, we have these young players, and you can't really pay Tyreek Hill. You can't pay this player. You can't pay that player. We have the quarterback. We still got one of our weapons. We have the running game. But now we got the defense to kind of keep us afloat while the offense gains their footing. We evolve the offense a little bit more, get more weapons around Mahomes. And now, obviously, this year is a little bit different. But for the past couple of years, other than this year, you've seen that plan play out and work perfectly. Same with Philadelphia. They just draft, develop. Oh, that guy can walk. We got another guy in the pipeline coming right through. So it's going to take a while because of the draft picks that we don't really have right now. But I do think that they will get there eventually. But if they got to go out right now and spend in free agency, a la the Patriots, which they identified the players, allocated the money to those players, it all worked out for them. So, and AP did that last year without spending big money. So it can be done either way, like big money, small money, mid-tier players, expensive players, top-tier players. This is about coaching and how you build the team out.
Yeah, Dory Jackson is progressing beautifully in Philly. Sorry, Goody.
Mentioning the draft, right? So I know this is normally the kind of thought on the draft is that you're going to get less hits out of the hits that you do get, right? You're going to have less odds of finding superstars or serviceable players than you are to actually find them. Considering that we have, I believe, 5-6 picks maybe, what are the chances that we could actually hit on 30, 40, 50% of those picks? You know, you could also turn this thing around or expedite the, process of adding talent to this team by hitting in the draft. But it is, again, just a lottery, a jackpot. But we kind of count that out too often. So, you got to keep that in the back pocket as well. Adam Peters can come out and put together a phenomenal draft, and these people could land on this roster and just really elevate this team in this window that we have. So something that kind of gets overlooked a little bit.
Yeah, and Hall brought up a fantastic point with Kansas City. I would also point to somebody like the Giants, like Pittsburgh, where they would let go of the superstar wide receivers and just continue to draft. And as much as it is about progression, I very much believe it is about the marriage between quarterback and wide receiver and the ability to show your productivity. I think Kansas City is a great example of this, where they don't spend top high value picks on wide receiver, but they still get great productivity out of the wide receivers that they do have. And if they need to fill in the gaps, they go get an older guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, so to speak, and they don't need to allocate those high value resources to get a lot of productivity out of the wide receiver, because there is a meeting between that wide receiver wanting to have more reps, showing their talent, their speed, everything, matched up with a very accurate, good quarterback. And that's what I'm trying to convey whenever we talk about this wide receiver in the first round, top 10 kind of thing, is you don't necessarily need to have that top 10 pick on a wide receiver to get top 10 production. But it has to be a good marriage between quarterback and wide receiver there. And
I get your point, but like Kansas City never picks. They always pick in between 28 to 32. So like
that's fair. That's what we're trying to get.
But
to.
Also, I know, but like they're still spending first round picks like Xavier Worthy on receivers.
Yeah.
They're still spending second round picks like Rasheed Rice. So they're still spending high value
second
picks.
Rounders.
Yeah, but like that's still a high value pick. But anything with it, I feel like for me personally, anything with like the top 100, top 125, whatever you want to call it, that's like a high value pick.
Okay.
But
I was more speaking of like the top 10, but I got you.
Okay, well, yeah, obviously, yeah, top 10, like even then, like the first, like yeah, because I guess like Jamar Chase and guys like that, but then you also got the guys like Justin Jefferson that were picked like 20 or whatever it was, 19, back half of the first round. So if you just go down the list, like a lot of the top receivers in the league right now were first or second round talents. Every once in a while, you'll get a third round guy like a Terry McLaurin or a Debo or whoever it may be. Puka, yeah. But more times than not, in the third or fourth round, you're getting a Luke McCaffrey, a Jalen Lane, more times than not. So
was
that's the only reason why.
Was Amon-Ra second round?
Yeah, he was a second rounder.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was third round. I thought he came right before, or was he before?
No, he was third
He might have
round.
been third.
He was
What was
before
the
after Terry because he had a little gripe with us about that.
No,
it was Diami. It was Diami.
He got
had
after
an issue
Diami,
with.
so he was
Was
a
it
third round
Diami?
pick.
Yeah. But I thought it was like seventh. The reason why he picked his number is because that's how many wide receivers were taken before him.
Yeah, I think he was like a late third round,
Yeah.
like late third round, early fourth round pick. But I know Diami went in front of him, and he was a third round pick. So
Yeah, I got you. All right, now the next question is from Deluxe in the Discord, that tangent that we went on, of course. Whenever we get in this quarterback wide receiver debate. This question from Deluxe. Washington is in a unique situation, Goody. Thoughts on going 5-1 in the division and missing the playoffs? How would you feel?
I would love it.
Yes,
I
absolutely
would
love it.
absolutely love it. That would be great. I mean, again, I mentioned this before about kind of my wish list from Santa, but yeah, the way this season ends with the schedule, us facing off on our brothers in the division, and obviously besides the Giants, the Cowboys and the Eagles are obviously kind of fighting for something,
Yeah.
and just to kind of show up and just be like, hey, this isn't, what you see on the record isn't us. You guys know us well enough to know that that's not us. So I just want to go out there, punch them in the face, and if we could take them all, I'll take them all. I wouldn't even care at all.
Yeah, and then, honestly, it would give you a lot of confidence going into next year because, like they always say, the best way to get into the playoffs is by beating your own division, right? And obviously, Washington's in a unique situation, like like Deluxe kind of asked in the question, and he's absolutely right. But I would say that would build the confidence going into next season that you can play with anybody as long as you come in and play with a certain mentality and a certain way of playing. Like I got into it with Road Chaser on Twitter because he laughed because Dan Quinn ultimately said that he's not ruling it out that he'd come back to call plays next year. And he said it's not the coach, it's the player. And I was like, well, wait a minute. That's a direct not correlation. There's a direct difference in what you're saying. You're arguing your own point because Dan Quinn coming in, they're playing better. So how can you say? And then he went in this whole tangent about the quarterbacks that we're playing and the offense is not being as good. I'm like that's fine, but we were still getting our doors blown up by not even that great a competition. But it is what it is, regardless. But I agree with you there, and I would absolutely love it. And beating your division, especially my coworkers, I would absolutely love it to be able to beat the Eagles twice, to hear them complain just a little bit more.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit. I would love it. First of all, I'd be psyched because you're putting the rest of the NFC East on notice going forward in the next year that, 2024 was not a fluke. This is who we really are. As long as Jaden's back there and healthy, and everything's clicking and rolling, and yeah, like I said, just to beat your division rivals, sweep two out of the three division rivals would be just a great way to end the season. Look at the Lions back in 2021 or whatever it was. Close the season out strong. Everyone was buying in, believing in Dan Campbell and what was going on. They haven't looked back since, pretty much. They've been a contender in NFC ever since. So I think that for the people that say that, I do think that every season is different. Nothing really carries over for the most part, but I do think that in some like small cases, and this would be that small case, getting Jaden back, getting guys back healthy, showing everyone like, hey, this was the plan from the get-go. This is what we could have been. I think that'll go a long way for guys going into 2026. And it'll show other guys around the league like, okay, 2024 wasn't a fluke. Washington is for real. Let me go play over there and try to get a ring with them. So I think that'll definitely help. But it'll be a little bit bittersweet as well because that means we'd have what? If we beat the Vikings, beat those teams, we finish with what, 7-9 or whatever it is. And
that wouldn't be bad.
That wouldn't be bad. I'd be happy. I don't really care about the whole draft pick thing, whatever. But I'd also feel a little bit like salty because that would mean that the whole NFC East collapsed. And if we would have just pulled out a win against Denver,
Chicago,
or Miami, or Chicago, whatever those three games might be, we win the division.
Yeah,
that's encouraging. That's encouraging to me. That's something I can.
And we're one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, going into that playoff thing. So we'd be a scary team. But unfortunately, it didn't shake out that way. But I would love to finish the season on a high note, give some NFC East hard knocks, good television for the last couple weeks of the season, and just gave the fans a little bit of hope going into next year.
And see Nick Sirianni throwing chairs.
That'll help. That'll help the Madden rating for the next Madden next year for Washington too. Because if we finish strong, the Madden rating will be high. If we finish bad, it's going to be pretty low. So
Sirianni definitely looks like somebody who would punch walls. You know what I mean? Like when he was a kid, he definitely punched walls when he was a kid.
He definitely drank monsters and punched walls.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
He bothers me.
Last question from Deluxe. I'll answer this briefly. Basically asking why so many fans are in on Treylon Burks and not Noah Brown. And obviously everyone's going to point to Noah Brown's injury history, but the reason why Burks was let go of the Titans because his availability was few and far between, a lot like Noah Brown. But what I will say, Deluxe, is Treylon Burks, we said it when we signed him, that this is a perfect replacement for Noah Brown. The body size, the body type, obviously is there. It's very similar to what Noah Brown offers you. But Treylon Burks, being a former first-round pick, has that kind of talent. And we saw that against Denver to make some wow plays. And, of course, everyone's going to cling to that, also given that he's younger. And so I think a lot of that, the younger aspect, the wow plays, is really where the fan base is going towards, is saying we'd rather cling on to Burks than Noah. If we're not going to get a lot of productivity out of either of these guys, give me those wow plays, those crucial touchdowns, and solidify that way to be able to say that's where I'm getting my money's worth. As much as Noah Brown with a Hail Mary, you could say is a wow play, and of course it was, but it was contingent on a lot of things happening that are borderline impossible of being able to achieve, of course. But before we get out of here, boys, I want to give our predictions for this game. Who wants to go first?
I'll just say also about Treylon Burks real quick. Like you said, they're pretty much the same player. It's just same floor, but Treylon Burks' ceiling is way higher. And at the end of the day, if they're both going to be the same player, both be injury prone,
right,
same body types.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, I'd rather have the guy that's a little bit more explosive,
right,
and has a little bit more potential than the guy that you already know, like, he's probably already maxed out on what his potential is.
You're absolutely right. And Indian Lake, Ohio said the same thing. Burks has first-round talent. Noah has mid-range talent, and
Although people sleep on Noah Brown coming out of high school, he was like a top 2 or 3
no,
like receiver
no,
coming out.
100%. But obviously, he's just more
Yeah,
speaking
his
of
body's like broken down since then. That's the
like
problem.
in his age, where he's at in his career right now. It's
Exactly.
easy to see. I would agree with you there. Not to crap on our own guys, but Goody, do you want to go first in your predictions for this game?
Yeah, so the prediction is Washington will get their first win in about 2 months.
2
Okay.
months to the day. Literally.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough. So yeah, we will pull out this victory. Jaden Daniels will
problem.
move this offense. The offense will look very well. The defense will play nice. Terry's gonna outperform Justin Jefferson, and the final score will be. I'm feeling a 30 burger. I'm feeling a 30 burger. It's cold outside. We need something warm for the gut. 31-17.
All right, I like that. I like that prediction. Before I give my prediction, just wanted to say, so Washington coming into this game offensively, they are second in the red zone. They are 13th in third down percentage. They're 22nd in points per game. They're third in rushing yards, 22nd in passing yards. Minnesota, on the flip side, on offense, they're 18th in red zone, 31st on third downs, 28th in points per game, 25th in rushing yards, and 29th in passing. Defensively, the Vikings are third in red zone, 11th in third down, 18th in points per game, 23rd in rushing yards, and 5th in passing yards. Washington defensively, 25th in the red zone, 24th in the third down conversion percentage, 28th in points per game, 27th in rushing yards, and 30th in passing yards. With all of that being said, this game leans towards Washington naturally, given that Washington coming in this game is 22nd in passing yards allowed. The Vikings defense is very good against the pass. So what Washington is very good at is third overall in rushing yards per game, whereas the Vikings are 23rd in rushing yards per game. So be willing to say that this kind of goes towards Washington's strengths, but with Debo, with Terry being healthy, with Jaden out there, you could say you have that explosive ability with them. Of course, you can make the same argument for the Vikings, but the source of that football is the kind of issue and cog in it for Minnesota. Can J.J. McCarthy be able to unlock that explosiveness? We haven't seen all that much of it. With Jaden, you could very much say we have seen it, and so it's much more dependable. With that being said, I do think Washington wins this game. And the one way you'd be able to get after them is you have to force the Vikings on third down. You have to get them in those third down scenarios. You cannot allow it to be easy. You cannot allow it to be short. You want to force them in those kind of 3rd and 8 situations, that one-dimensional aspect, and be able to pin your ears back and get after JJ and possibly be able to get off the field to help this offense out just a little bit more. That being said, I do think Washington wins. I think Washington wins 31-24. I do think it'll be close. I have respect for the Vikings. The pastor of our church is a Vikings fan, so I'm not going to crap on him too hard. But I do think that Washington right now is just trending in the right direction. And you can't say the same about Minnesota right now. And I think that goes a long way, and the stats lean towards Washington having the upper hand, which is insane to say given with how this season has gone. And so I do think Washington edges it out with a late touchdown by Jaden Daniels helping out Hard Knocks.
Yeah, we all know this is a wonky league, so the way that the Vikings have been playing the past couple of weeks versus us playing the past couple of weeks, you would think, and Jaden coming back, you would think that, this is Washington, they're trending in the right direction. Should be a good win. But
to your point, not to cut you off, I know I always do, but just saying, somebody, I forget who his name is on Twitter, but he came in this week saying that Dallas is the hottest team in the league right now. Put your mortgage on them to win this game because they're the hottest team in the league, to your point, and then they lost.
Yep, and they lost. Yeah, so it can go – it's a week-to-week league, so the way you've been playing the past 2 weeks could have no factor on how you play this Sunday, and vice versa. But I do think that the quote by Dan Quinn that, what do you say, we're not lost anymore, or whatever, we're not lost and found, whatever. But I think that he really meant that, and I think that the players in the locker room really took that in and resonated with it and felt that, and they're gonna keep on trending in the right direction. Especially they're gonna get a big energy boost with Jaden coming back, Terry and the whole offense being fully healthy for the first time since week 2 or whatever it's been. So I think that and that's going to boost the defense as well. And I do think if the offense can maintain drives, keep the defense off the field, keep them healthy, obviously it's going to help them out, and keep Justin Jefferson off the field as well, so he can't kill you. But I do think that it's going to be a close game. I think it'll be slightly high scoring. I think it'll be like kind of like the Chargers game where Jaden comes back. He's going to look a little bit rusty. Brian Flores is going to be throwing the kitchen sink at him early and often. And I think that eventually him and Cliff will work things out on the sideline. Jaden will catch a rhythm, just like the Chargers game, and they'll take off on offense. And I don't think that the Vikings offense is going to be able to keep up with our offense if we're clicking on all cylinders. So I'll go with finally. I called it last week that we were going to get the dub. That was going to be the one win of the year that no one thought we would pull out, but we did it, and we almost got it. So I think this is the week we finally get back on the winning side of things. And I'll go Washington 26, Minnesota 20.
Yeah, and like I talked about with Minnesota giving up on defense of rushing yards, 128 yards per game, 23rd in the NFL. This being an indoor stadium game, I'd be leaning towards this offensive line being able to move Jonathan Allen out of the way. We know Jonathan Allen very well. Not always the best against the run, especially to the outsides. I'd be willing to say that what you saw against the Chargers with Bill is what you're going to be getting against the Vikings. So my dark horse, undercover hero is possibly going to be Bill in this game, being able to rip off some big runs.
You know what's funny about that? That was the one thing I was actually going to be looking for in this game is Bill the type of running back where he needs Jaden in the backfield to kind of help him out as far as the running game goes? Or is it just like Bill is that 7th round guy that's kind of still learning his way in the NFL and eventually he might pan out? Or is Bill a product of Jaden being in the backfield? And that's why he went so ham on the Giants. He went crazy on the Chargers. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has
with Chris Rodriguez too to see how effective he is with Jaden back there too. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and we do have to put in the consideration of the playing surface, right? Like because they put in that new sod
That's true,
last week.
Because LA
right?
is kind of like is kind of outside-ish, inside-ish.
And I've talked about the analogy with having a Mustang drive in the mud in a field. It's dead in the water. You know, it's not going to do all that much. And that's essentially what Bill is. He's a Mustang. So on that playing surface in a stadium, that's where a Mustang really pops off. That's asphalt. You're good to go. You're straight up. It's dry out. You're fine. Chris Rodriguez obviously does way better in those kind of situations where he's that tough kind of 4x4 pickup that's able to get that traction, be able to get out of the field. So I do think that this is a sort of situation where you could utilize Bill just a little bit more and then use Chris Rodriguez as literally the sledgehammer for the short yardage and when you need to make your point. And, of course, Jeremy McNichols on third downs. I mean, nobody else should play on third down, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Dude, every time a dude touches the ball, good things happen.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this episode. Thank you to Indian Lake, Ohio. Thank you to Large Viking. I appreciate you for tuning in, man. It's awesome of you to be so cordial about it, even though we're facing it. A lot of people online nowadays. That's not a thing. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you to Deluxe. Thank you to Tim Towner. Thank you to the Colonel for your fan questions. And thanks for Reed for stopping by. Special guest appearance from him. Yeah, he was
That was
missed.
cool. That was awesome.
Spooky ghost.
Mr.
All right.
Pasty.
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys again on Monday after the game. Hopefully it is after a win. So we'll have another victory Monday for you, and it'll be in good spirits, unless you're of the tank for draft stock crowd, and you'll be upset. Not us on this panel. We want to see them win. All right, everybody. We'll see you again on Monday. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
Goody.
And we'll see you guys then. Washington football. Woo!
Peace.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video.